Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And there you go. We are back. We are live. It is Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, we are with you today until 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning here in the Tennessee Valley. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on a Wednesday morning. A lot of great stuff to look at today. We got a lot of college football news going on. We have got Major League Baseball news. We'll tie that into the SEC as well. We also have a lot of college basketball going on as well. It is round one of Alabama and Auburn on the hardwood tonight. We will start breaking that one down here in just a minute. But last night, the SEC had some college basketball going on, and we said that if the game could be played below the 90s, it would be a South Carolina. That they want a lower scoring game. They got it. South Carolina at home. They improved to 4-2 in the SEC, 16-3 overall, thanks to a 79-62 drubbing of 6th-ranked Kentucky.
Well, I'll tell you what. Jeff has warned us about this being the most horrendous defensive team.
Yeah.
They guard about like these people.
Yeah.
They were watching on the TV screen where it's
Not Basketball Association.
Yeah, well, that's a great. Hey, that's another great term, Scott. I usually come up with the Drewinary terms. That's a great one. Scott has just added to the Drewinary, the Not Basketball Association. I agree, 110%. When it's like 142 to 125.
There you go.
And they're just trying to basically outscore everybody, and there's no physicality in the game. But, yeah, I mean, hey, look, I'll give Blake Lovell credit too. So far South Carolina is probably the biggest surprise in the league. They got throttled by Alabama on the road, but other than that, that's why I tell everybody, that's why Alabama's got I think a good shot tonight. It's going to take their best game, but to say that, right now that Alabama might get blown out, but they could get blown out tonight by Auburn. And Auburn's very, very capable of doing that. But I'm just saying, what I mean is, when South Carolina got exposed by Alabama in the second SEC game of the year and got beat, 25 points,
yeah,
a lot of people probably wrote them off. Well, they bounced back.
Because you look at their regular, their non-conference schedule.
They didn't leave the state of South Carolina. Yeah,
it wasn't tough. It wasn't great.
Yeah,
it's okay, great. It's Lamont Paris's second year.
Coach
They're still
Paris,
trying to build. Well, now they got a big quad one win.
Yeah.
And, that was a huge win last night.
Well, and Blake Lovell told us the way their schedule's set up, he thought South Carolina could get enough wins in the league, and because maybe the league isn't as deep as it has been, so
right,
that they could get into the NCAA tournament. They took a huge step forward in that. And it makes you question whether Kentucky is one of the top two teams. Maybe it's now the Auburn Tigers who are undefeated, and Tennessee. Maybe they're the two best.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say Alabama because they've already gotten throttled by Tennessee on the road by 20. So I think Alabama possibly could be 4 because they've already throttled South Carolina. But they'll go maybe the top 3. But the only way they'll prove that is if they can beat this quality Auburn team that hasn't lost in the league and have been playing at a very, 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 very high level.
Kentucky's formula right now is shoot a lot of threes and play physical at the rim. The refs were letting a lot of stuff go last night as well in that game. That formula there doesn't bode well for Kentucky right now. Texas A&M gets the best of Missouri last night, 63-57.
I heard that was a rock fight. Didn't get a chance to see much of that.
Texas A&M led by 5 at the half, outscored Missouri by 1 in the second. Texas A&M now at 500 in the league at 3-3, 12-7 overall. Missouri, oh boy, I feel bad for them. They are 0-6 now to start the league. Is Missouri. So the Tigers off to a slow start. As for tonight, it is Alabama and Auburn, 6:30 right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. In the last 3 seasons, Alabama and Auburn. Now we talk about how good Tennessee has been. We talk about how good Kentucky has been. But the last 3 years, believe it or not, the SEC has been controlled by Alabama or Auburn.
Right.
Alabama in 2023 and 2021, Auburn in 2022 have claimed the SEC regular season championships. Alabama has won 11 straight SEC games at Coleman Coliseum, the longest winning streak since 2012 for the Tigers. Bruce Pearl enters tonight 12-12 all-time against Alabama as a head coach, 2-6 on the road in Tuscaloosa while at Alabama. But the Tigers currently boast the nation's fourth longest winning streak at 11 games. So something is going to give with the number 11. Either Alabama is going to win its 12th straight SEC home game, or Auburn is going to win its 12th straight game overall.
Well, I mean, this is like, the mid-'80s in Alabama-Auburn basketball and that rivalry when Sonny Smith had it going. And, of course, Wimp had taken over the program from C.M. Newton in the early 80s. And it was just one of those things where for, a 3 or 4 year period, every game was very hotly contested, I think, and they met, I want to say 3 times in the SEC tournament finals, and Auburn won one of them and Alabama won a couple. Both of them were good. Auburn made an Elite Eight run. Alabama made several Sweet 16 runs. And so and that Elite Eight run for Auburn was the deepest until Bruce Pearl's squad a few years ago went to the Final Four and broke through for the – and so the field of 68, Rob Doster, Jeff Goodman, and some of those guys, they've got Bruce Pearl's team as a potential Final Four team. A few of those. They always do this. It's way too early to do it.
Oh, it is.
To create conversation, they put the field out there and they make Final Four picks, and they have Auburn as a legit contender for the Final Four, and we're going to find out tonight. And we'll find out how competitive Alabama is because they certainly got howitzered by Tennessee, who I still think Tennessee is the best team in the league, but I'll know tonight after getting a chance to see Auburn for the first time, hopefully, up close and personal. And I've watched Auburn some, and they've been very, very impressive. But now I think Bruce Pearl even said it this week at his press conference that he feels like this Alabama team is the best team they've played thus far because they're out of conference schedule. Didn't have a ton of tests on it besides Baylor. Baylor's very, very good. So and Auburn nearly won that game on a neutral floor.
88-82 they lost.
Yeah.
That was the
and they
season
led the
opening
majority.
game, number 7. That was November 7th, by the way.
And they led the majority of that game until like the last 4 or 5 minutes. And so Auburn is definitely legit, and Alabama's going to have to play their best game to have a shot.
All right, here is Nate Oates leading into tonight's game.
If you look at conference-only games, we're dead last in turnover percentage on offense. We had not had that issue really until we hit conference play. So we've got to get some guys to start taking care of the ball better. Starting with our backcourt. Mark Ryland turned it over quite a bit. Tennessee, Aaron's had issues with his turnovers. I think those 3 guys really got to take care of the ball. Because Auburn turns people over more than anybody in the league if you look at conference-only games. So their strength on defense has been our weakness on offense, so that's going to be a major area of concern and where we need to look at. And then Auburn's just playing well. I mean, they're, Coach Pearl's done a great job there. He's got them playing at an elite level. I mean, you look at their last, 11 games or whatever. I mean, they're running through people. They're shooting the ball well. They're playing hard on defense. They're super deep. I think they're –
That's a little Nate Oates leading into tonight's game, and here is a little Bruce Pearl.
We played them well twice last year. I think we led, for 60-some-odd minutes in those 2 80-minute games and just, weren't able to finish. They obviously they're a great team a year ago as well. So we recognize that we got beat twice by them last year, and that's something that at Auburn, when that's your rival, just obviously doesn't sit great. Should be a great environment tomorrow. I would think to this point that I've said it a few times as we've stepped up in play. I think I said it when we played Baylor, and then it maybe next was when I said it when I played Texas A&M, and I think I'll say it now. This is probably the best team we've played so far.
There you go. Little Bruce Pearl, little Nate Oates. Nate Oates talking about the turnover.
Yeah, Alabama
turnover bugaboo.
The first two things they've got to do against Auburn is protect the ball and rebound. Because Jonai Broome, Jalen Williams, Dylan Cardwell, they got some experience on that front line for Auburn. They got some dudes. Chaney Johnson comes off the bench. We know him well, plays with a lot of energy. But Auburn's they're going to pose some problems. And Alabama has to defend, better than they did against Tennessee. They got to compete. If they do, and if they can keep the turnovers, I want to say around the 12 or 13 area. And if you can keep the battle close to even on the glass, or even slightly win it, which is going to be a chore. But if they were able to do that, and they can get to the free throw line, convert, and then of course make double-digit threes, then I think they can win the game. I think they'd have to be like an 85-79 type game. They need it to be in the 80s, be a little bit more high scoring. And, of course, 79 is not a great defensive game. But, again, this Alabama team has played well defensively at times, but it's not a great defensive team. They don't have a lot of rim protection. But it's just about competing and then, being able to get the game at their pace. I'm not sure that Auburn wants to play at the same fast tempo that Alabama does. I think Bruce would probably rather slow it down a little bit and make it more of a half-court game. And then run when you can. But I don't think he wants a game played in the 90s where you're just going up and down. Even though I will say this for this Auburn team, last year's Auburn team wasn't a great shooting team from the standpoint of the 3-point shot. I think this team is improved in that area. They have some new pieces that those guys can shoot it, and so if the game goes that way, they can compete. But I still think they would rather have the game played in the mid to high 70s.
82-80, 93, 83-88, 101-82, 91. Those are Auburn's point totals during this 11-game win streak.
Yeah.
So
this team is better.
Mid-80s.
It's deeper.
Yeah, it's deeper.
I would still think on the road at Alabama they wouldn't want it to get up in the 80s because that means Alabama shot it well.
Right.
But again, this is a very, very good Auburn team.
All right, again, 6:30, your start time tonight, Alabama and Auburn. Alabama is one of 3 schools in the country that has 2 players on its current roster that has scored at least 1,700 points throughout their career, Aaron Estrada and Mark Sears. Mark Sears is one of 4 Division I players and the only Power 5 player that has 355 points, 43 pointers, 6.5 assists, and 65 rebounds this season. Not 6.5 assists, 65 assists. There we go. I don't know how you'd have 6.5 assists for the season. But there you go. Alabama does have, and you mentioned the offense, if it's going, Alabama does have the number 1 ranked offense according to Ken Palm.
Yeah, the offensive efficiency,
Yeah.
Even with that drubbing they took at the hand of the Vomits.
All right. Auburn has 7 quad 1 games remaining, though, based on the net rankings.
Right.
Alabama is the second highest. They've got tonight, Alabama comes in number 9 in the net rankings. Mississippi State is number 40. Ole Miss is 70. Florida is number 45. Kentucky is number 18, but I imagine that might fall just a little bit after last night's loss to South Carolina. And Tennessee checks in at number 4 in the net rankings. And, of course, the NCAA bracket goes – the committee uses a lot of the Ken Palm and the net rankings as far as the tournament basis goes. So those are big. Auburn does come in ranked number 8 in the AP poll going into tonight. So it's the first of 2 meetings. This one and Tuscaloosa, and the crowd will be there because tonight they get the ODK trophy, right?
Is
that still on? Like normal?
Guess it's kind of changed since COVID a little bit. I don't know that they're going to have a presentation with Auburn coming to Alabama. That's a great question. I don't know if they might just do it by video. I know they were going to introduce Kalen DeBoer officially, but they kind of did that at the last game with Mizzou. Maybe they'll even bring some of DeBoer's assistants out. I don't know this time. We'll see. But I know that they had said something about doing something with related with DeBoer. I mean, now it makes you wonder though if they might bring out Saban for kind of a
is he
ovation.
even back?
He could. I'm sure they could arrange that because his team. He was the head coach when they won it,
right?
And it would be raucous because it's going to be a great crowd
if
you bring out the GOAT and he gets a chance to thank the crowd and we certainly know there's a few players that won't be there. That took the money and ran, as the song goes. But, it is what it is. And so we'll see. I mean, it would be cool, though. It would be cool to have, Saban come out there and accept the ODK trophy and speak on behalf of the program. And we'll see what happens. But I think it's certainly going to be a raucous environment. And Alabama needs it to be because they're playing a super quality opponent.
All right, let's get a break in. We need to get one in, the first one of the morning. When we come back, talk more college football. And got some high school notes, got Major League Baseball notes. We got all kinds of stuff to get through. Coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
If you are eastbound on 565, move left all the way to the left before you get to the Space and Rocket Center. Got a major backup there. They got the number 3 lane blocked off at Jordan Lane. That's an accident with an injury involved. Triana and Bob Wallace is a no injury. Got Sparkman and Sherwood in Decatur with an injury. 20 and Woodall in Decatur also had an injury. And 72 and Meridian had a utility pole involved. They're routing traffic around that one. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Chris Brockman here from the world-famous Rich Eisen Show, and the playoffs are now. The stakes are higher than they've ever been, and there's no better way to turn the playoff football's big game energy into 100 times your money than Prize Picks. Just select 2 or more players. Pick more or less their projection for a wide variety of stats and place your entry. Boom! It's that easy. You could turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Get in the lab and cook up your winning entry. Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks is matching your first deposit of up to $100 when you download the Prize Picks app and use the code PRIMETIME. That's code PRIMETIME on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
It's official. 47 years in a row, Ford F-150 is the best-selling truck in America. Come drive one, and you'll see why. Hi, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to kickstart the new year in a brand-new F-150. Choose from nearly 200 F-150s, and we think you'll find just the right one. Right now, we have financing as low as 1.9% for up to 72 months on 2023 F-150s, and lease payments as low as $389 a month. That's a 36-month lease with $6,282 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends January 31st. Call 539-9441 for complete details. At Woody Anderson Ford, we have nearly 50 2023 Explorers for you to choose from, too, with financing as low as 0.9% for up to 60 months. Plus, check out our over 40 24 Bronco Sports and a fresh truckload of the full-size Broncos that have just hit the ground. Come on over and let's get the new year rolling. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, Eagle can insulate your home and help you save money with fiberglass, spray foam, and cellulose insulation, and can help you decide what's best for your project. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
Work injuries happen in Alabama all the time, whether it's an accident at work, getting injured, lifting heavy objects, hurting your hands on a machine, or just performing the same movement over and over until your body breaks down. But when it happens, there's only one law firm to call in Alabama. That's Pond, Lehocky, Giordano. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. And we talked a little college basketball there to get everything going because tonight is round one between Alabama and Auburn. This one in Tuscaloosa, 6:30 tip-off. 97.7 ESPN The Zone, your home for tonight's game. Make sure you have the app downloaded, and you can listen to it wherever you go because you also got UAH basketball coming up as well. So you can listen to both UAH and Alabama basketball because it'll all be going on at the same time.
Well, UAH got a big win. I know there was some heartbreak for the ladies, but the men got a big win over Auburn Montgomery, and they could make a big step forward here, getting a road win coming up tonight at Montevallo. As we know, Anthony Camara it does a great job there. They've gotten a lot better. He has a good young team. Tyson Sexton, really good freshman. Brandon Fusell, too. Those two freshmen, Fusell from Guntersville, Sexton from Scottsboro. And, Anthony has done a great job recruiting and building that program. And certainly they put a thumping on UAH last year at Montevallo.
Sam Orff, the assistant coach.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's right, yeah.
On the Montevallo staff. So
yeah, there you go.
That's all coming up tonight. That gives you something to look forward to. Yesterday, Alabama fans, I know Alabama football fans were ecstatic when this news came out, and that is Ryan Williams canceling his visit to Austin, Texas. Supposed to be there on 3, put it out. I believe it was our what's the other 24/7?
Yeah, it was on 3, I believe, that put it out first. But do we
read anything into that? He still has the Auburn visit coming up, but
well,
do we read anything into the?
Everybody thought he was going to visit Texas 2 days ago, and now he's not. So we'll see what happens going forward. I will say he did visit Texas A&M, but I never thought he was going there, and I didn't think he was going to Texas. And so I've always thought it was going to come down to the in-state, Alabama and Auburn. I think Alabama's in a strong position right now, but Auburn's certainly not going away, and they certainly want to roll out the red carpet for Ryan Williams. He's an electric player, and that visit, he could visit Auburn this weekend, but it's scheduled for February.
Yeah, February 3rd.
It's supposed to be a week from this Saturday or a week from Friday, whatever you want to say, when he goes on said visit. So we'll see. I mean, certainly, I still think as of now, I would expect him to make the visit. He's said Hugh Freeze was going to get the last visit. He never, to be honest with you, when he announced that he was going to visit his visit schedule, A&M wasn't on there until Holman Wiggins left Alabama to go to Texas A&M. He added that one, but then he did announce Alabama, Texas, and Auburn in that order. But then he ends up canceling Texas. So I just never thought he was going to go there. And I think he'll make the visit to Auburn more than likely. And I like where Alabama stands right now. But, again, I know Hugh Freeze and Auburn, they're going to they need to put their best foot forward. And it's interesting because both coaching staffs have been going through transition.
Yeah.
And Auburn needed to get their offensive staff completed. We'll talk to Jason Caldwell about that as they brought in a familiar face in Derek Nix, who is now officially the OC, yet Hugh Freeze will, of course, handle the play calling for the Tigers.
We've talked a lot about Alabama losing guys in the portal and how many they have lost. But do you know who's lost more than Alabama in the portal since a coaching change?
Who would that be?
Texas A&M.
Oh, well, that's not surprising.
They have lost 26 guys to the transfer portal since Jimbo Fisher was let go.
Yeah.
26 guys Texas A&M has lost in the portal.
Yeah, I mean, them checks bouncing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you do what Jimbo did, and I always said with Jimbo that his method was like a house of cards where you're going out and buying a team. And Ohio State's doing this now. Let's see if it works. Jimbo couldn't handle the locker room, and it blew up in his face.
Yeah.
And we all know he got a lot of money. He got, what, a 96, 80-something million dollars, whatever the hell it was, 70-something to 90-something million dollars to go away and stink. And now Ryan Day's in the same boat. If he doesn't have a big year this year and make a serious run at a national title, if not win it, and especially if all these reports are right about Harbaugh, and he's going to freaking San Diego. Wow, I knew I'd say that. Los Angeles.
Still call him,
then the Chargers, and he still can't beat Michigan, then they're going, he gone.
Before we get out to the phone lines real fast, let me ask you this. Is this Ryan Day? We've seen teams go out and get players from the transfer portal. We still don't know how it's going to work. Lane Kiffin is all in on the portal, okay?
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin, Ryan Day, they've pushed all their transfer portal chips to the center of the table and said, this is how we're going to ride. This is what we're going to do to get to the playoffs. This is what we're going to do to win. If those two don't work, do we see teams take a step kind of like a Dabo Swinney-esque step and just go back to developing guys from the high school level and then maybe mix in a guy or two from the portal?
The best programs are still going to do that. I mean, and to be honest with you, the one thing I'll give Ryan Day is they're still recruiting very well for the high school level.
Right.
When you look at the overall recruiting rankings, Ole Miss is not. But I'll just be blunt. Ole Miss there's different expectations. Okay, now they're going to go in this year thinking they're going to get in the playoff and at least make a run at the national championship, and they might. But they're never going to say national championship or bust or you're fired. That's just not Ole Miss. Okay, if the Lane train with his Twitter wars and his social media presence and everything, if he keeps winning nine games a year, he has a job for life. They will never fire Lane Kiffin.
You don't think they'll sit there?
Hell no,
you don't
they
think
won't
Ole Miss
fire
will
Lane Kiffin.
eventually sit there and say, we need
because
more than
if he's
9?
averaging 9 wins a year, there's an above average chance in a 12-team playoff with all these Biden teams that he'll probably end up in the playoffs most of the time. Now, he might get
all
whooped.
The money they spend on the collective, even with all the money that they spend,
because
9 wins is
Lane
is
contradicts himself all the time. He spends all this money on the portal and says it's got to be fixed. So eventually it's going to be fixed, so you might not be able to spend as much on the portal. But I'll be honest, deep down, Lane wants the hell out of there, and he wants to go to LSU or Alabama or somewhere that he's got a more inherent advantage, and he's just playing everybody. That's all he's doing, sir. Enjoy all these videos, enjoy the Juice account and all this crap. He doesn't even really want to stay at Ole Miss long term. So just enjoy him while he's there, because he came a millisecond away from going to Auburn. You know what I'm saying? And so he could have easily had that job if he pushed for it, but he leveraged it into a raise and the more NIL money. And I think eventually his end game is never going to be at Alabama, though. I'm sorry, as long as Greg Burns, athletic director, and if Kellen DeBoer is as successful as I think he's going to be. But hey, you never know with LSU. What if Brian Kelly can't get over the hump? You know, that's probably his next target.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Jeremy or
Jason.
Jason.
What's up,
with
Jason?
Us. My bad, Jason. Good morning,
What's
Jason.
up?
Hey, good morning.
Morning,
hey, Drew, hasn't Alabama started recruiting the quarterback from Saraland?
Once again, yeah. As you know, Jason, when new staffs come in, they reoffer people. I know they reoffered Micah DeBose, who Auburn is really heavily after and heavily involved with, the outstanding interior offensive lineman from Viger High School. Ohio State even came to see that kid the other day. But yeah, I mean, they had KJ Lacy in for a face-to-face meeting with the new staff for the first time on Saturday. From all indications, it went very well. He's still committed to Texas. Now, it was funny because Ryan Williams was going to head out there, so everybody was wondering if KJ Lacy was, and now I don't know if either one of them are going to end up out there. I still think if Alabama pushes with KJ Lacy, he'll end up in Tuscaloosa because he wore number 9 for a reason, and he wears it for a reason. He wears it because of Bryce Young. So,
right.
And
he's a good ball player too.
He is. He's on the small side. He's like Bryce. He's a little bit of a smaller quarterback, and we've seen so far is they brought in Austin Mack, who's a 6'5" guy, but Michael Penix is not the biggest guy in the world either. So they've had different style quarterbacks at Washington under Kalen DeBoer and at Fresno State. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I think it's worth, if you can get him as a package, Ryan Williams and KJ Lacey and get them both to Tuscaloosa, I think that would be worth it for the Tide.
Hey, we got to have Grant Nelson in there for about 34 minutes. Not getting foul trouble.
He's got to defend without fouling. There's no doubt about that. With Jonai Broom and Jalen Williams, who's one of my favorite Auburn players of all time. I mean, that dude. We're going to talk with Jason Caldwell in just a few minutes about him. But and then just this team as a whole. I mean, this Auburn team seems to have much better chemistry this year. They're very, very good, and it's going to take an A effort from Alabama to win tonight.
Yeah, out the two younger guys, Devontae and Davison.
Yeah.
Alabama's got to have something from them because right now we are not physical under the go.
Right.
And that's where we're getting whooped at is the physical part of the basketball game.
I agree. They're going to have – it's like I said in the beginning of the show, Jason, they've got to compete on the glass. It's got to be close to even or even slightly to Alabama for them to have a chance to beat a team the caliber of this Auburn squad and the way they're playing.
Yeah, right now it's about impossible to coach, recruit a basketball team because you had Quinterly leave and you had the big guy leave. I mean, you didn't know that was going on. In an ideal situation, you'd have brought in another big body center and another point guard because Spears is actually a better off guard where you give him the ball in open space. That's him, having to create a three-point shot. He's a heck of a shooter.
Yeah.
But making his own shots sometimes, that's a good bit for him. It wears him down.
Yeah, they need a nice game from Aaron Estrada and him to protect the ball tonight and get to the rim.
All right. Well, y'all have a good day.
Appreciate it, Jason.
Thanks. Yeah. I tell you what, let's get a break in because Jason Caldwell can help us fill in what the Auburn Tigers may need to do tonight to get a win as they travel to take on the Crimson Tide. Jason Caldwell fills us in next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
They have cleared 565 eastbound at Jordan Lane. Traffic's moving normal there again. We got one westbound on 565 at mile marker 2. It's in the number 1 lane. Sounds like they're going to send Hemsey there for an injury. Bob Wallace and Triana's trying to clear. We've got Sparkman and Sherwood in Decatur. That one had an injury, working on it. 20 in Woodall has east and westbound problems. That one had injury and entrapment. 72 in Meridian got a utility pole involved. It's going to take a while to clear. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental also specializes in day and weekend rentals to homeowners? The weekend rentals is by far the best deal that they offer. If you pick up after 2 on a Friday or anytime Saturday morning, it's not due in until Monday morning before 8 a.m. for a one-day charge. For a small fee, Valley can even haul anything they carry. Valley has extremely experienced and knowledgeable staff that can help you decide what size machine you need or what type of machine you need to get your job done like a pro. They have all the big items that the contractors contractors need for their jobs, but they also carry the small tools that can help you with your DIY project. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and ask for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's perfect!
Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond tonight marks game 1 of 2 between Alabama and Auburn. The scene is in Coleman Coliseum. Auburn does pack up its 11 straight game win streak, the 4th longest streak in the country, as they head to Tuscaloosa. Alabama, as we mentioned, has an 11-game SEC home win streak, so something has to give tonight. Auburn comes in number 8 in this week's Associated Press poll, its highest ranking since finishing the 21-22 season at number 8. And they also ranked number 6, along with Kentucky, in this week's ESPN Coaches Top 25 poll. So the Auburn Tigers, a lot on the line tonight for them.
Yeah, there is. I mean, they're an outstanding basketball team. They've set themselves up to compete for the SEC regular season championship and a top 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. They continue to rise. They're on an 11-game winning streak. They're playing at a very high level. The only undefeated team in the Southeastern Conference, coming in at 5-0. They're a much deeper team this year, a much better shooting team. I think the chemistry seems much better as they have retooled this roster. They have balance inside and outside, and it's going to be, Alabama's a slight favorite. I think I saw 3.5 last night. But it's going to be a heck of an environment over in Tuscaloosa. We know what happened last year. Auburn played for as good as they could play for really just over 30-plus minutes in the game. Alabama made an unbelievable comeback, as unbelievable as I've ever seen. But they are very, very good. It's going to take an effort like that, except for 40 minutes from Alabama, to have a chance to win tonight. And we're going to talk about that and more. He's in his 24th year of covering the Auburn Tigers for Inside the Auburn Tigers / Auburn Undercover, part of 24/7 Sports. And that's our good friend Jason Caldwell. Jason, good morning.
Morning, guys. How are y'all?
We're good. And, I mean, I know you are like me. You go back in history. We were talking about this earlier in the hour. But this is like that 83, 84, 85, 86 run for Alabama and Auburn, where every game went down to the wire, both in the SEC tournament and the regular season. This era is another golden era of Alabama-Auburn basketball right now.
Yeah, even more than that time.
Yeah, even better teams now. Right.
Yes, when you look at Auburn and Alabama have dominated SEC basketball for about the last 5 years, which is pretty remarkable to think about. You think about the combination of SEC championships or tournament championships and things that have been done in this league, and it's pretty remarkable to see the consistency out of the programs too. And I think that's the key when you look at it. And yeah, I mean, tonight, it's going to be typical. We saw last night how hard it is to go on the road in this league. What South Carolina did at Kentucky, they just dismantled them. And for the game tonight, you look at it and go, which team makes shots? If Alabama makes shots, they're hard to beat because they can score points in bunches and do those things. Will Auburn's depth have an impact? It's going to be a fun one. It should be a battle back and forth like they all are. And the good thing about it in basketball is that you go, hey, you go out there and compete, and if you were to drop a game, then, oh, well, everybody else is going to as well at some point too. So, but, this is a Auburn team that's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And so, we'll see if they can carry that over to the road. Like I said, very difficult environment and a tough one tonight.
Yeah, Auburn comes in with a little bit of momentum, though. I mean, yeah, they've got an 11-game win streak, but their last outing against Ole Miss, I mean, it was at home, but Jason, they looked pretty good in that ball game.
They've been playing really well. Just unselfish is the word that comes to mind. You know, when you watch this team play to this point, it's like a teaching tape for every other coach, where you go, that's what you want it to look like. I mean, they have nobody that plays that averages more than 24 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Broom's 24.1. Lots of people share the scoring load. Everybody's having fun. I thought the last 30 seconds of the Ole Miss game was maybe the most impressive thing I've seen in 25 years, where you've got walk-ons and bench players that are blocking shots and hustling on defense trying to protect the basket, and they're up 25 points. That's not normal. Now, normally you see guys that want to go score and do those things. Those guys are doing that defensively, and it just speaks to right now what this team has going. Well, will that last all year? Will that come? You know, that consistency of playing together and not caring who gets the glory? We'll see. But right now, that's what they're doing, and that's the best thing about this team, because it's not a team that's loaded with NBA players, I don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
But we also saw last year, San Diego State wasn't either.
No.
Florida Atlantic wasn't either, and those teams played a Final Four. In college basketball now, teamwork and depth can go a long way.
It really can, and I wanted to talk about Jalen Williams, because I've made this comment since the season started. I've been around him the last 2 years in Birmingham when Bruce Pearl had him represent Auburn. Such a great young man and kid, and he could have left for a bigger role elsewhere. Auburn's been recruiting at a high level, so he could have moved on. He stayed. I know he's basically been a team captain, I'd say, for the last 2 years, and really been a leader throughout his tenure at Auburn. But this dude is playing at such an efficiently high level. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the SEC, and still, I don't know if until he leaves, I don't know if Auburn will understand how good he's been.
Yeah, I think fans understand now when they look at it, and for a long time, he's been the guy that people said, I wish he'd be more aggressive.
Right.
And it's just not who he is. He's just not that guy, and it's the key to his game, and it's right now it's the key to this team, because they've done a good job of letting the game come to them, and we've seen it the last couple of years, especially last year. They had too many situations where they tried to take the game themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think Alabama had the times with Brandon Miller and other guys too. And when it's great, it's really good. But when all of a sudden you have one of those nights where it's not very good, then everybody else is kind of looking around going, okay, what do we do now? That's what Jalen has done a good job of, going, look, I'll take my 6 shots, or I'll take a few more. And I think Bruce Pearl has understood it and done a good job of saying, look, we need to go get him early. So they run some things for him early, get him shot. But he can do it. He can do a little bit of everything. He's not that aggressive guy. Now, the difference for him and really Dylan Cardwell both
yes.
is that I have seen them be more aggressive at the rim, where they're going, hey, I'm going to go try to dunk it and take somebody's arm off and do that instead of, they're finishing through contact and doing some things that they maybe haven't done the last couple of years, and it's made a difference.
And Auburn, you mentioned the contact, you mentioned everything. The last few games, they've been really good. Auburn's been really good at not committing fouls. In their 2 losses, that it's gotten them in trouble, but in the last few, they've been really good at not committing those fouls.
Yeah, no, that's the key to being able to play defense for them is to be able to play that style and not get a bunch of guys in foul trouble. And really, the last few trips for them in Tuscaloosa, that's been the issue.
Yeah.
Somebody jokingly said that, Janai Broom already had 2 fouls, and his third one came when he got off the bus tonight. I mean, it happens that way when you go on the road sometimes, and it seems like they've been a little bit more foul prone on the road, which is normal. That's going to be a key for them tonight. They've got to keep guys on the court so they can play that pressure defense. so they can do those things. Because if you have to play a little softer against Alabama, and you let them run the floor, and you let them post up on the 3-point line, then you're going to be in for a long night. And so they're going to have to be able to play that style of play for 40 minutes.
Well, and Jason, I said earlier in the show, I felt like if Alabama was going to win, they needed it to be played in the low to mid 80s. I know this is a better shooting Auburn team and a deeper Auburn team than we saw a year ago. What style does this game need to be played for Auburn to win on the road?
I think they can win different styles, but I think that lends to, okay, let's try to play a style of play that is uncomfortable for the opponent.
Right.
And so I think if you're playing a team that doesn't want to get up and down the floor, I think they want to do that. Now they're going to take their shots and they're going to run and they're going to do that in transition. But they've also shown that they've been a pretty good team in half court.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the thing for them, when this season started, Bruce Pearl said, I don't know how good we are defensively. And they've just gotten better and better and better. And I think the key for this team is defensively, but it's a better shooting team. Mm-hmm. And we weren't sure, I don't believe, if this team was going to be good enough defensively to get them where they need to go. Now they've been good enough to be as good as anybody on that side of the ball. And so I think that's the key for them still is defensively. I think you're right. You don't want this game to be 88-87 if you're Auburn. You want this one to be, mid-70s to 60s, and I think that's where you feel like you want this game to be.
Yeah, because Auburn has an advantage with Jonai Broome, Dylan Cardwell, and Jalen Williams, a very experienced front court for the Tigers. Baker Mazar has been tremendous as well, a very underrated player, an addition from the junior college ranks as well. We would be remiss, though, if we didn't talk a little football. Hugh Freeze continuing to search for a defensive coordinator. We heard DJ Durkin's name mentioned. He was mentioned with Alabama before Alabama completed their staff. He is very experienced in the Southeastern Conference, Jason. We know they added Derek Nix, a very familiar face to Auburn fans who's been with Hugh Freeze for a long time, and offensive coordinator. Where does this coaching staff stand right now?
Yeah, just kind of, they're trying to finish off the last piece of defensive coordinators. Of course, got
Right.
Charles Kelly there as the co-DC, and so you've got that one spot left. When this thing started, Chris Kiff and DJ Durkin were the two names that we talked about. I still think those are two names that are involved. Would I be surprised if there was somebody that was off the radar that might be in the mix? No, I wouldn't. But I still think those have been the two most likely guys this entire time. We'll see. The good thing now is that because of really Ryan Williams is really the only guy on the board left
Right.
for the signing class. You've had some visits, things like that done, and there are coaches on the road, but it doesn't make it where you go, you got to have a guy by today or tomorrow. The most important thing now is to get the right guy, and so I think that's allowed them to take their time a little bit, but I do think they'd like to get this thing done maybe end of the week and have somebody heading into the weekend, but we'll see what that timeline looks like.
Yeah, and so with Kiffin, I know he's with the Houston Texans. They did lose last week, and I know they were waiting on that as well. Is it really a two-horse race, really, in your mind?
I think it is right now. I think it's been that way from the beginning. But like I said, would I be shocked if there was somebody that popped up here late?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Right.
That's happened a lot of times, especially in coordinator hires or assistant coaching hires. But, yeah, it's felt like it's been those two guys really from the get-go for me.
And for you, I know you followed us very closely. I know he canceled the Texas visit. Ryan Williams still slated to visit Auburn, though, a week from Friday, correct?
Yeah, that's what we understand. Things obviously can change. Obviously, Alabama, it feels like, made a really strong impression on him last weekend with the new staff and doing those things. And, all I've told people is, look, if Auburn can get him on campus, then you go, hey, you feel like that the Tigers will have a good shot. We'll see if that if they can get him back on campus to take that final visit. That's obviously going to be the one that will determine things pretty quickly.
No question. Well, good stuff, Jason. Let everybody know how to follow your coverage. It's going to be bang out tonight with this huge basketball game with two of the best teams in the SEC and Auburn right now, a top 10 team in the country.
Yeah, you can check us out at auburnundercover.com. And Nathan King will be on the road. He's heading up to Tuscaloosa here shortly today, so he'll have the coverage from Tuscaloosa today, so you can check it out, auburnundercover.com, and also follow me on Twitter at ITATJason.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, guys.
Let's get a break. And hey, do you know who has the longest winning streak in college basketball in the country? I bet you don't know. I'm going to tell you next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm seeing eastbound traffic on 565 slow down around Glen Hearn. I can't see a problem there, but it's definitely slowing traffic down. They got the number 1 and number 2 lanes blocked westbound about mile marker 2. That's going to be near Mooresville Road. That one ended up being an injury type. And with 2 in Meridian, utility pole involved. Highway 20 in Woodall in Decatur's got east and westbound blockage. That one had injury and entrapment. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. If you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Have a drink at the Open Bottle, a copious selection of wine, spirits, and craft beer from around the world. They've got a full bar, wine by the glass, craft cocktails, premium bourbon, 48 specialty beers on tap, and a smart staff with hustle. There's an expansive, comfortable patio with a brand new performance stage and live music every night from local artists like Lamont Landers, Rob Aldridge, and James Irvin. There's space for your next celebration or corporate event. The Open Bottle on Highway 72 near Slaughter Road intersection in Madison.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Football season and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar. The perfect combination of good times and great food. This season, score big with one of our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness. Our delicious burgers are made with premium Angus beef, and you can pair it with one of our signature cocktails or a cold craft beer from our huge selection. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and our new location at Cliff Farm, Highway 72 in Madison. One of the best-kept golf secrets in the Tennessee Valley is Cherokee Ridge. Cherokee Ridge truly offers golf at a higher level with immaculate greens set against a spectacular Appalachian backdrop. This 18-hole championship course takes every advantage of rolling hills, whispering woods, lakes, and streams. Interested in becoming a member? Their membership plans feature affordable options for couples, families, and individuals. Book your tee time today, 256-841-4551. Cherokee Ridge. Championship quality, affordable prices.
All right. So before the break, Auburn comes in with the 4th longest winning streak in the country right now at 11 games.
Yeah, they've been balling, man.
It's the longest active win streak among power conference teams. One more than North. Okay, that doesn't. Okay, yeah, North Carolina is right there. Now, this is according to the Auburn notes right now. It says longest NCAA Division I overall win streak.
Yeah.
It belongs to a team here in the state of Alabama.
Uh-oh. The Samford Bulldogs.
17 in a row.
That's what I was telling. I just clicked because I was just telling some folks over at Huntsville High last night that he's playing for the the hottest team in America, where he's signed, and that's Caleb Harrison, who had 14 last night, 14 and 10 for the victorious Huntsville Panthers, who won 68-44 in 7A Area 7 action at home. But yeah, I mean, he's playing for the going to play right now for the hottest young coach in America, as Samford has won 17 games in a row. I didn't realize it had reached that level, but wow, I mean, that's amazing.
17. They play tonight, by the way. So Auburn's 11-game win streak is on the line.
Right.
Samford's 17-game win streak is on the line tonight at Furman. So
that's a tough road trip, Brian Ritchie. Bob Ritchie. Sorry, Brian. I know you're not the coach, but I will give Brian Ritchie credit for this. He did inform us that the ODK presentation, they don't really do that anymore. I think that's
sad.
I think they probably went the way of COVID. You know.
But anyway, so there you go. The states.
Yeah,
so
Bob
the
Ritchie's
state of
head of the
Alabama has 2 of the top 4 longest winning streaks in college basketball.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, Bucky's done a heck of a job, man. It was such an outside-the-box hire when, athletic director Martin Newton.
Yeah, straight out of high school.
Sam Newton's son decided he wanted to, grab Bucky McMillan. And Bucky he was so far ahead of his time with what he did at Mountain Brook and the way they play and the way he coaches, and he built a dynasty over there, one of the best programs in the country, and certainly it's taken him a time to build Samford, but it's just been an amazing transition, and you're starting to make waves when Jeff Goodman starts tweeting about you and talking about what an outside the box hire it was, and he's starting to rise up the radar. But Bucky's done a hell of a job.
Back on January 13th, not too long ago, they beat VMI.
Right.
134-96.
I'm going to tell you what, man.
Regulation score.
He loves to play fast, man. They're fun to watch.
They beat LaGrange back on December 3rd, 128-82.
Jeez. Wow. And they stole Caleb Harrison.
They beat Mercer the other night. Mercer is pretty good.
Yeah.
87-80. That was at home.
And I know they won. I think they won at Western Carolina.
They did. That was January 16th. That was part of the 17, obviously. 75-71. So their only 2 losses have come at the beginning of the year when they lost to at number 2 Purdue.
Yeah, we remember that was the
98-45.
Yeah, where they had the 6-foot
remember they put
guy
the shortest guy out there to go
jump
against,
up against. Against Zach Edey. Yeah.
And then they lost to VCU on November 10th. So they played November 6th, November 10th. They lost those 2 games.
Yeah.
They have not lost since November. They have not lost since then. They started this win streak on November 14th, did Samford, and they have carried it all the way through with wins against Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Louisiana, Belmont, Valparaiso, Texas Southern, Chattanooga, UNC Greensboro, Western Carolina, Mercer. So tonight it's Furman. So the nation's longest winning streak in college basketball.
What kind of year is Furman having? Because Bob Ritchie, Brian Ritchie's cousin, he's kind
of like Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, there you go. Except they may spell it the exact same, but Bob Ritchie's a hell of a coach. And I mean, remember, they've gone on NCAA tournament runs under Bob, but I mean he's been there a long time.
All right, let's take a look at the Paladins, shall we?
The Furman Paladins.
They are 10-9, 4-2 in conference play.
So they probably played a tough out-of-conference schedule, you'd say.
They have played the likes of Liberty, Coastal, Wyoming, UAB, Princeton. They have taken on Ernest T. Bass.
No, I imagine they almost beat Ernest T.
97-83.
Oh, well, damn it.
They've come here to Madison and taken on Bob Jones.
Yeah, well, whoops.
The Bruins of Bob Jones, that is, from Greenville. Tulane. So there you go. I mean, they've I don't know. But
It'll
anyway,
be a tough road trip, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
anyway, though, there you go. The nation's longest winning streak resides here in the state of Alabama.
Keep it up.
We're going to keep it up. We're going to go
to
hour
we got to
number
get him
2.
back on the show.
Oh, I mean,
come on.
We're going to go to hour number 2 of Talking Ball. Brian Pasick will join us. We'll get you ready from the Alabama bench coming up next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Free air-chilled boneless chicken breasts and 4 juicy boneless pork chops with your order. OmahaSteaks.com/VSiN.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
NBA tonight, the Hawks are on the road visiting Golden State. The Warriors favored by 7.5. Their last 2 games were postponed following the death of their assistant coach. The Grizzlies are 9.5-point underdogs on the road at Miami tonight. Men's hoops tonight. Alabama plays host to number 8 Auburn. The Crimson Tide favored by 3.5. North Alabama 6.5-point underdogs at Kennesaw State. NFL Conference Championships on Sunday. The Ravens host the Chiefs. Baltimore by 3.5. Kansas City plus 170. The Niners host the Lions. San Francisco by 7. Detroit plus 265. San Francisco plus 150 to win the Super Bowl. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Always fun to look at things way ahead of time and way early. We were talking about Samford having a 17-game win streak, being the longest in the country right now. Joe Lunardi has him as a 12 seed in the way too early bracket, but he has them as a 12 seed, by the way. So there you go. Auburn is a 3 seed, according to Joe Lunardi, going into tonight. Alabama is in there as well as a 5 seed. So tonight there's a lot on the line. There is a lot on the line. I know it's early. It's just the first of 2 matchups between these 2 teams, but this is big. This is big because this is quad 1 wins for both teams available all at the taking.
If you love basketball, and I do, and if you're a basketball a guy, and I consider myself one, this is fun. These are 2 really, really good basketball teams. Alabama is very, very capable. They've played as tough a schedule as anyone in the country. Certainly, they didn't play their best basketball on Saturday against, I think, the best team in the SEC in Tennessee. I don't want to disrespect Auburn. Auburn will certainly put their best foot forward tonight, and it's going to take a great effort from Alabama. But Alabama, sans the game against Clemson, which they led in the second half, has protected their home court. Last year's game in Tuscaloosa was one of the best college basketball games I've ever witnessed, and we're going to talk about that and more with a longtime color analyst for the Crimson Tide Sports Network. He'll be on the call with our good friend Chris Stewart tonight, and you'll hear that game here on 97.7 The Zone, and that's Brian Pasick. Brian, good basketball morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm with you. This is exciting. The Iron Bowl of basketball is always big in this state, but now it's big nationally. This is a huge game. The implications for this game used to be state pride and beating your rival.
Right.
All on its own makes it important. I mean, we know, we live here, we know the deal with Alabama and Auburn. That is more than enough. But when you consider the stakes that have been involved in this game in the last 4 years, it's incredible. I mean, the SEC championship has gone through either Tuscaloosa or Auburn the last 3 years, with Alabama winning 2 regular season titles, Auburn winning 1, and now in this year Auburn's leading and the hottest team maybe in college basketball. We're far from who's going to win the SEC title, but this one's going to go a long way to determining it. So another big Iron Bowl basketball tonight, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and for Alabama, it's a chance to get back out on the court and erase some memory from the Tennessee matchup over the weekend.
That's the great thing about college basketball. Is you get to bounce back, you have that opportunity, and you don't have to wait a whole week. You just wait a few days. And I know this Alabama team wants to get that taste out of their mouth. And Tennessee was great. And they may be great. I mean, they may be, when it's all said and done, the best team in this league. I think right now they're the best team that I've seen with my own eyes. That may change tonight. with what I've seen on TV, Auburn and Tennessee right now are clearly playing the best basketball. Alabama just a game out. But Tennessee's really, really good, and they've always been good and tough and great defensively under Rick Barnes. But you add the offensive dimension of Dalton Connect, one of the most lethal shooters, scorers in the country, and all of a sudden Tennessee, I think, becomes a national title contender. And Alabama just wasn't ready to go, which is something that we have not really said this year, even in the losses. Alabama was competitive throughout the game, led, I think, most or all of these games that they lost in the second half. But Tennessee was good. They were physical, and Alabama did not handle it well at all.
And now and Nate Oates basically yesterday challenged his team. He wants to see what kind of competitive juice and competitive fire they have tonight against, as you said, the hottest team in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, Nate Oates' teams, his good teams, and his teams that are championship contenders always bounce back in a big way. And if I'm Auburn and Bruce Pearl, and I saw the game film and score from Tennessee, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I want them coming off a loss where they got their pride hurt a little bit and getting beat as badly as they did. When I look at Nate Oates' teams, his teams that are his best teams always bounce back and did it in a big way. The ones that were, he had a couple teams a couple years ago, the 22 team that ended up being a 6 seed and had that up and down year. There were some games where they got beat, and then it took them a few games to respond. 21 team, the championship team led by Herb Jones last year, the team with of course led by Brandon Miller and Noah Clowney in that group. I mean, both of those teams did not get beat often, but when they did, look out in the next game. So I think this game tonight, not only from a record standpoint and a standing standpoint, will be important, but I think kind of to tell us about this team and who they are. And Nate Oates talked about it yesterday in his press conferences. He thinks he knows what type of team this is and the competitors they have, but I think we'll all know a little more tonight about this Alabama team having coming off this Tennessee game that did not go very well. You got your rival in town, maybe the hottest team in college basketball. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be electric, and I'm very interested to see how well Alabama comes out and plays.
How big is it for Grant Nelson to stay on the floor?
Well, it's huge. He's been so effective on the defensive end for this team. Now, he has so many tools offensively and does a great job getting to the rim. He can offensive rebound. He can handle it. He can make decisions going to the basket and finish at the rim. Has not shot it as consistently as he would like from the three-point line, but is capable of getting it going. But when he's been in foul trouble, you take maybe the most versatile player in the SEC off the floor. He can do so many different things. And Alabama has had a tendency to get in foul trouble with Nick Pringle, with Muhammad Wagi. You mentioned Grant Nelson. So that's important. And I think that's one of the things that makes Auburn so good is they can go on the road, which is typically where foul trouble happens, and they don't miss a beat with their bench. They have one of the deepest teams I've seen in a long time. They are 1 through 10. I don't think there's any drop-off. So if a Janai Broome gets in foul trouble, Dylan Cardwell is as good a backup center as there is in the SEC, if not college basketball. So they can withstand foul trouble a little more so than Alabama can.
Well, and then another key for Alabama tonight, they just were too sloppy with the ball against Tennessee. They've got to protect the basketball. Guard play has to be better. And then they have to compete on the glass, Brian. I don't know that they have to out-rebound Auburn. Of course, if they do, that gives them a great chance. But they have to keep the rebound battle very, very close, at least in my opinion, to have a shot to win this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in Knoxville, Alabama gave up 40 points to Tennessee in two categories. Points off turnovers, 22 turnovers, I think 17 or 23 led to 23 points, and 17 second chance points. So you see a number like that, you're not winning against a quality team or anybody for that matter. So those are two areas that I'll be looking at. I know have been points of emphasis in practice. And the turnover thing is interesting. It wasn't really a problem in the non-conference.
Yeah.
And it's not like Alabama didn't play a really tough non-conference schedule. I think they played the toughest non-conference schedule of any power school in the country. And turnovers weren't a problem, but turnovers have been a problem the last few games. And 22 against Tennessee, that was surprising. As good as Tennessee is on the defensive end, as physical as they are, that was a surprising stat. And Auburn's a team that is really good defensively. Their defensive efficiency numbers are great, but they take some chances. They change defenses. They'll come out after timeouts and trap and force turnovers. I think they're number one in league games in forcing turnovers. So that's going to be a key area to watch. But Alabama has to take care of the ball, has to defend and close out those defensive possessions by rebounding the ball.
Yeah, they really do. And then I think another X factor guy who I know Nate has been kind of creating a role for him. This is a team at Alabama with you don't know game to game now with Muhammad Wagee how many minutes he's going to be able to play because of his foot. And then, of course, Nick Pringle, when he stays on the floor, he can be very, very effective. But they need they have, and we know this Alabama team has offensive skill. They still have the number one ranked offense in offensive efficiency in college basketball. But a guy like Muhammad Wagee, who's a little bit injured, they need Muhammad Diabate, though, to continue to give him kind of a physicality edge. I know he's undersized, but we talked about this the last time you were on the show. He tends to be in the middle of the action and make things happen.
He does, and if there's a loose ball, he's the first one on the floor. If there's an opportunity to get a tip, deflection, offensive rebound, Nate Oates preaches toughness, blue-collar mentality, that hard hat mentality, and I don't think anybody exemplifies it any better, or at least in recent games, than Muhammad Diabate. And he's earned minutes as a result, and I think there's a role for him on this team. And I think that type of play is also contagious. And that's an area defensively and from a toughness standpoint that this team, I think, is getting better. And we'll take Saturday out of the equation. That did not have that in that game. But overall, just the trajectory of this team is they are getting better defensively. They are getting better with toughness. I think Muhammad Diabate adds a lot in both of those areas.
He really does. And so in your mind, I mean, I've said earlier in the show, I felt like for Alabama to win, they needed to be in the 80s, 85, 79, somewhere around there. They need to shoot it well. They need their skill to kind of take over. Certainly, Auburn is deep, though. They're very, very capable. This is an Auburn team that's a much better shooting team than maybe the one a year ago. But if Alabama's going to win this game stylistically, what does it need to look like?
I think you got to take care of the ball, number one, and I do think you have to play at the pace that Alabama wants to play at. Now, Auburn wants to play fast, too, maybe not quite as fast as Alabama.
Right.
But I think that Alabama wants to get out and run. I think it's important for Alabama in this game to either finish consistently at the rim or consistently get to the free throw line. Alabama, at least going into the Tennessee game, I haven't looked at SEC stats this morning yet, but was leading the SEC in free throw percentage and also one of the best in the league at getting to the rim. Now, as good as Auburn is defensively, they have had a tendency to foul, and you kind of understand why they would. I mean, they're so deep. They're one of the deepest teams in the country, so foul trouble doesn't hurt them. But if Alabama can get to the line a bunch of times as well as they shoot free throws, I think that's going to go a long way to help this team win. And I think the crowd is going to play an important factor. It always does in this rivalry. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be electric. And hopefully it will encourage the home team. And you mentioned last year's game. I mean, without the crowd in that game lifting up Alabama, I think down 16, 18 points, something like that, with about 9 or 10 minutes to go, it was the crowd that really lit the fire for this Alabama team and had one of the great nights in the history of Coleman Coliseum to come back from a large deficit against your rival and do so and win the SEC championship. It was an incredible night. I think the crowd had a lot to do with that. and hopefully the crowd will have a lot to do with the night's game as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be, as you said, an electric environment. And Alabama needs Missouri Rylan Griffin, not Tennessee.
Yeah, and listen, Rylan, wasn't just Rylan. I mean, Mark Sears, Aaron Estrada, Rylan Griffin, those guys.
Got to play well. That's the big three.
Turnovers. Yeah, they have to play well, and they have to take care of the ball because they're going to be pressured. Auburn's going to get out and harass the dribbler, take some chances, trap you at certain times. They're going to have to be ready to roll. I expect the turnover numbers to be down, hopefully in a big way. I know that's been a point of emphasis in practice especially, and it is anytime you play Auburn. But Mark Sears might be the front runner along with Dalton Connect and maybe Janai Broome. So for SEC Player of the Year, I mean, those three right now I think are the three most likely candidates. Mark Sears has 22, but he had 7 turnovers, uncharacteristic of him. Aaron Estrada has had turnover problems a little bit more than the others this year, and Rylan Griffin, for a guy that doesn't handle it quite as much, I think he had 4 or 5 turnovers. So the guards for Alabama need to play well, need to shoot it well, but maybe more importantly than any of those, they got to take care of the ball.
They do. Well, it should be a great call. You and Chris Stewart enjoy. I'm looking forward to being there, being part of another raucous environment for another great Iron Bowl of basketball. We always appreciate the time talking Crimson Tide hoops. And, again, thank you, Brian, for the knowledge and the intel, and we look forward to the call tonight on 97.7 The Zone for you and Chris.
Well, guys, I always appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Chris Lowe putting it out there. Get this out there 15 minutes ago.
We got breaking news.
Hugh Freeze is hiring Will Redmond away from LSU to be the director of player personnel.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say, hey, defensive coordinator out there,
I know.
Caldwell was talking about, out of left field. I thought, hey, what the hell? But okay. Director of player personnel.
See? Yeah, I know.
Still, there's something, though.
There is
breaking
something.
news.
It wasn't where we thought we were going.
It wasn't Bob Ritchie, Brian Ritchie's brother.
We're just full of little nuggets today. All right, let's get a break in. Yep.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Still seeing some slowdown on 565 eastbound around Glen Hern, but it's moving much better now than it was. We got Joe Quick and Bullard reported as an injury accident. We got westbound at mile marker 2 on 565. That's near Mooresville Road. Number 1 and number 2 lanes blocked up there. 20 in Woodall and Decatur may still be trying to clear. 72 in Meridian had utility damage. With area unemployment at record lows, hiring's a challenge, but Snelling can help you recruit professionals. Direct hire, temp, or temp to hire. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Installation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do afterpaint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
There's nothing better than a perfect cookie loaded with the finest all-natural premium ingredients. And you'll find these perfect cookies baked fresh every day at Cookie Fix. Choose from rotating flavors like classic chocolate chip, cranberry jumble, oatmeal toffee, and many others. Or take home one of their dough-to-go selections and bake them fresh at home. Cookie Fix also has cookie cakes for special celebrations, and they offer catering and shipping. Find out more and order online at cookiefix.com. In Twickenham Square, 300 Pelham Avenue. Cookie Fix. Grab some cookies and spread some smiles.
It's time you discovered one of Huntsville's culinary gems, Good Company Cafe, the place for breakfast, lunch, brunch, and so much more. Bottomless coffee options, boxed lunch catering, pastries, and wedding and other special event catering. And with Valentine's Day coming, Good Company Cafe can help you impress your special someone with Valentine's brunch. Or you can order a brunch board to go with a bottle of wine for a special personalized picnic. Find out more and order online at goodcompany-cafe.com or stop by and see us at 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details. Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Yesterday, we were talking about transfer portal quarterbacks. And we had no idea where Will Rogers was going to go. We now know where Will Rogers is going to go.
Nowhere.
Exactly right. Nada.
Nope.
Nada. He is staying in Washington. He is withdrawing his name from the transfer portal, and he is going to stay
with Jed
Fish at Washington. So the Mississippi State quarterback found a home, and it's in Washington.
Because I haven't worked on it enough to know how to pronounce it correctly, but I'll just call him Little Tua. That it was the freshman All-American at Arizona.
Yeah.
He's staying at Arizona, so he's not.
You think that's why Will Rogers stayed at Washington?
Of course.
Because if he had gone from Arizona to Washington, Will Rogers probably would.
I had heard some rumors that Will Rogers might end up going to Auburn.
Right.
And even with the new staff at Washington, before they took Austin Mack, there was rumors about Will ended up in Tuscaloosa, but he's going to stay at Washington. Probably a good fit. Jed Fish is a good offensive mind, and so he'll finish his career at Montlake.
Let's go on to the phone lines. Mark from Spring Hill is with us. I've been waiting for Jeff to call in because they lost last night, so he ain't calling in.
No, I was going to say, we're not going to hear he didn't watch it, I'm sure.
He turned it off, probably. Yeah, I had better things else to do. Mark from Spring Hill is with us. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
Hey, morning, guys. Now, I'm about 60 miles west of the Burrow guy. I guess I can go find them and we can get them on.
No,
but
that's okay. We're good.
Anyway, so I guess Kentucky lost. I hadn't been keeping up with Kentucky.
They did.
They're irrelevant. But anyway, the thing I was going to call in real quick, and we talk college football 365, which I love. With Milroe, I think I heard, and Drew, you might have been on when I heard this with Wes, that it's not a slam dunk or it's not a guarantee that he'll be the starter. You know, I thought if Jeff and the Bill Milroe or wherever he's from said that, you probably would give him a chew out. But at the same time, I thought about that after I think Wes said it, and the more I think about it, I think you're right. Or Wes is right in that Alabama may have a situation where they have a Tua and a Jalen Hurts type situation where you could put two quarterbacks in, and that's a great position to be in where, as an Alabama fan, when we had Tua and Jalen Hurts and we were up 40 and then you put Jalen in, you're like, my God. There's very little drop-off. So what are your thoughts on the possibility that we very well may have two quarterbacks that whoever's the number 2 spot the drop-off will be very little this year?
Well, we have to wait and see how how Milroe improves. He certainly should be the leader in the clubhouse. He played at an All-SEC level and was a 6th in the Heisman Trophy voting. But it's just a completely different offense. And we saw how, because I thought last year in SEC Media Days in Nashville that even though they made the coaching transition, that with all the experience back from Mississippi State, that Will Rogers would play at a high level, and they had a chance to win 9 games. But the new offense did not fit Will Rogers. He got injured early, and now that's why he's at Washington. And so they had to make a coaching change. We'll see how Milroe adapts to this offense because it's the last 2 years Washington has led the nation in passing and then finished second. So they throw the ball all over the place in this system, and it's based on accuracy, anticipation, making the right reads. And so we'll see. I mean, at times Milroe took too many sacks. At times he didn't pull the trigger. But this offense will give him a chance to develop as a passer. He came back because, again, he would have probably been a third-day draft pick. If he develops in this system like Michael Penix did, Penix went from off of the radar to third in the Heisman vote and now maybe a first-round pick. So this will be key for Milroe, as I've said on the show on multiple occasions, for him to have a chance to develop into a high draft pick type guy, a guy that can go in the first 2 rounds. Now, we'll see if he takes to it. If he develops and takes to this coaching, he has the physical talent as an athlete and with his arm talent to do this. But he's gonna have to get better at processing and get better at getting rid of the football. And if he does, he can be a dynamic force. If not, it opens the door for Ty Simpson. Should Ty Simpson stay through spring? We'll see, because I don't think that's guaranteed right now. And then, of course, Austin Mack coming in, who knows the system, who redshirted last year, and if there had been a serious injury from what I understand, especially in the second half of the season to Michael Penix, as a 17-year-old, he would have been the QB at Washington. So he's there to compete. And don't forget about Dylan Lonergan, who I'm very high on, who has outstanding arm talent. So they have some good players there. No question about it. Now, the room is not quite as crowded due to Eli Holstein going to Pitt and then due to Julian Sand cutting and running and taking the money from Ohio State. But that's just the way it is. It's hard to keep quarterbacks.
And sometimes, though, in Jalen Milroe's case, sometimes a different voice in the quarterback room, as in a quarterback's coach, can be good.
Well,
I mean, it helped Jalen Hurts when he went to Oklahoma, just getting a different voice.
Yeah.
And Jalen Milroe may develop at a faster rate or in a different rate by hearing a different voice.
He might, and just from watching DeBoer, I consider him maybe a quarterback whisperer, like a Sarkisian, that he develops the quarterback position. He's not just a play caller.
Right.
And so we'll definitely know that with the touch he applies with Milroe here.
Oh, yeah, and the last thing I was going to bring up, the strange parallelism is that, Jalen Hurts was the national championship away if a defense at Alabama could get a stop against Clemson, and Milroe could be a national championship quarterback if they could have done it against Michigan. So, there is some strange similarities between those two quarterbacks. So it's up to Jalen, like you said. If he wants to be the starter, I mean, I guess at first when y'all said that, I was thinking, hold on, this guy's earned the right, but you don't earn anything until, you get out there. And I love it that if this new coach, keeps the standard that the best players play, then he'll be successful at Alabama.
Well, again, when you have a completely new staff take over and you got completely different offensive and defensive schemes and special teams, everybody starts over. I mean, because I've seen how it can affect a quarterback in a positive way. Because I think when Lane Kiffin came in, his offense fit Blake Sims. Blake went from a lot of questions. A lot of people weren't thinking Jake Coker would win the job, and he was SEC Offensive Player of the Year, had an unbelievable season in 2014, and I've seen it do it in a negative way. Gary Hollingsworth under Homer Smith in 89 was SEC Offensive Player of the Year, and then when they changed offenses to more of a pro-style set under Gene Stallings, he wasn't as effective.
Think of it, I mean, I know it's an extenuating circumstance, but think of Mississippi State and Will Rogers.
That's what I said earlier in the conversation. He didn't fit that offense that Kevin Barbay put in from Appalachian State. It just didn't work under Zach Arnett, and he got hurt, and he just wasn't nearly as effective. So going to be interesting to see how he does at Washington. And I know DeBoer really, I think he wanted to give, since he's 17 years old, he probably wanted to give Austin Mack one more year to develop and bring in a quarterback like Will Rogers with all that experience. Now he inherits Jalen Milroe, who played at an all-SEC level and finished strong. But the only thing I'll slightly disagree with Mark on that is, look, that Alabama defense in 2016 got 7 straight 3-and-outs, and until the very end, Jalen Hurts couldn't move the team to put him in position to take the lead. This time, I thought Milroe did a great job coming back. I mean, Alabama dug a hole. They were down 17-3. I thought they played much better in the second half. He gave his team a chance to win. And then at the end of regulation and then in overtime, the defense just couldn't shut the door. Now, you could say that Milroe had a chance with a minute and a half on the clock to drive the team, and they were near midfield. Then it kind of broke down. But, again, Milroe made a ton of strides. He came a long way. And now, in a way, this is for he and his father, and I've said this, I've told the backstory many times. They want him to be a pocket QB. They want him to be a passer. Well, there's no better system for him to try to do that than this one. If he can make the transition and become a dynamic thrower of the football, he can play in the NFL. Because, look, Jaden Daniels made a huge jump from one year to the next, and he's probably going to be – Mel Kiper had him number 2 yesterday going to the Commanders and had, Drake May 3rd and had Caleb Chillane 1. Now, I wouldn't take Caleb Chillane 1 in my opinion. I know he's a great athlete, mobile, and a dynamic force, but I have Justin Fields questions. Because I wasn't sold on Justin Fields either. I think Drake May and Jaden Daniels are the better players that I've seen. I mean, I would think about taking Jaden Daniels number 1 overall with the way I saw him develop as a passer, but that's just me.
All right, let's get a break in, shall we? When we come back, Major League Baseball opened up its Hall of Fame doors, and it's a record-breaking day for the SEC. We'll explain when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Picked up a wreck at Holmes in Jordan, fire and rescues there, but it looks like they've canceled Himsey on that one. Joe Quick and Bullard had an injury. 565 eastbound at Glen Hearn looks better now. Westbound at mile marker 2 on 565 had the number 1 and number 2 lanes blocked. Those are clear now. And we've got 20 in Woodall and Decatur and 72 in Meridian and Huntsville both trying to clear. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Chris Brockman here from the world-famous Rich Eisen Show, and the playoffs are now. The stakes are higher than they've ever been, and there's no better way to turn the playoff football's big game energy into 100 times your money than Prize Picks. Just select 2 or more players. Pick more or less their projection for a wide variety of stats and place their entry. Boom! It's that easy. You could turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, an enormous selection of players and stat options are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Get in the lab and cook up your winning entry. Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks is matching your first deposit of up to $100 when you download the Prize Picks app and use the code PRIMETIME. That's code PRIMETIME on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Before yesterday afternoon, let me rechange that.
Yeah.
When we were doing our show here yesterday morning, right here in the studio, there was only one player from the Southeastern Conference in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
And I can name him.
Who is it?
Frank Thomas.
You are correct.
The Big Hurt.
When we all laid our heads down last night, that number doubled. It's now up to 2 former SEC players in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, as former Tennessee quarterback turned baseball player Todd
Colorado
Helton
Rocky great. Yep.
got the call to go into the Hall of Fame. Now, Todd Helton, when Peyton Manning arrived in Knoxville, Todd Helton was the start. Todd Helton actually got the start.
Jerry Colquitt was the starter, but he tore his ACL.
Right. Think about this. Yeah. So at one time, Todd Helton played, I believe, against UCLA out there. They played in the Rose Bowl, but not in the Rose Bowl. But it was a regular season game.
Yeah, both him and Peyton
Bowl.
had to play because Jerry Colquitt went down like the first series with a free hit, and Jerry had waited his turn. And really, the Peyton Manning was going to redshirt, and then everything came off the rails because Jerry Colquitt got hurt, and then Todd Helton was somewhat ineffective, and he got banged up. And then we all know what Todd Helton's best sport was, because you just told the listeners he became a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, and what a great player he was.
Okay, so there you go.
And here's another thing, too, that people may not remember about Todd Helton.
Right.
Couple things. His brother Rodney Helton was a linebacker at Alabama, of all things. But here's the other thing. He played college baseball at Tennessee and got them to the College World Series under Rod Delmonico. And the thing about Todd Helton, how great he was, Scott, he was a hell of a pitcher, too. He was their number one starter, and threw 92, 93 miles per hour. Todd Helton was just an outstanding college baseball player.
It was his 6th year on the ballot. He got 79.7% of the votes, did Todd Helton. He only needed 75% to get there. He played for the Rockies from 97 to 2013, spent his whole entire career.
Got them to the World Series.
Second former Rockies player to be voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Larry Walker being the other.
Yeah. So there you go. So Who else is headed into the Hall of Fame? Again, 75% is what you needed to get in. Joe Mauer is
Minnesota
getting in.
Twin.
Adrian Beltre is getting in.
All-time third baseman.
And former manager Jim Leland was elected by the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee. He is in to
Love
the
Jim
Hall
Leland.
of Fame.
I hope he quit smoking.
Yeah, that is not going to happen. I mean, jeez. I mean, remember back in the day, the cameras would catch
he
him
was
smoking
chain
in the
smoking,
dugout.
man.
He'd smoke in the dugout and whatever.
I guess I pegged Jeff wrong because I thought he was a chain smoker, but Jim Leland definitely was.
Billy Wagner missed the ballot by 5 votes.
I know a lot of people thought he was going to get in,
votes.
man.
He has one more year to
On the
get
ballot.
considered by the writers. Gary Sheffield's decade has come to an end. He got 63.9% yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Sheffield will not be on the ballot anymore.
I still think steroids kind of and the likelihood he used has hurt Sheffield. And he wasn't known as a favorite among the writers, too.
Right. Well, here's another guy who fell short.
Yeah.
And you could tell me if he should be in. A lot of people thinks he should be in, and that is former Atlanta Braves center fielder Andrew Jones. He fell short yesterday, again, his 7th year on the ballot. He appeared in 61.6%. It's an increase from 58% was Andrew Jones. But there's a lot of people that feel Andrew Jones should be into the Hall of Fame.
I hope he eventually gets in. He's as good a defensive center fielder as ever played the game. And for much of his career was an outstanding hitter and offensive force. We'll see if Andrew, finally gets in. But, I think he definitely has a case, no question about it. And hopefully they'll keep plugging along. I would say Andrew Jones more so than Gary Sheffield. Being a Hall of Fame player.
All right, there you go. So the SEC now has doubled its Major League Baseball Hall of Fame output. We went from 1 to 2.
Heck, we had 0. Big Frank didn't go in but a few years ago.
No, you're right. You're right. Think about that, though. Think about of all of the Will Clarks and steroids hurt Rafael Palmeiro in a huge way, the whole controversy there.
Yeah.
You think of all the greats that have come out of the SEC in baseball, pitchers, everyday players.
Ben McDonald never became a Hall of Famer. He was the number 1 overall pick in the draft. A lot of people thought he might have a chance to have a career like that. But again, it's just difficult. It's difficult to continue to produce at that level. But, yeah, it is hard to believe with the SEC being the best collegiate baseball league in America that they haven't had more. Certainly they've had a lot of major league regulars and really good players.
Right.
Todd Walker being another one. But they haven't had too many. Todd Helton being one that sticks out. Big Frank. That were definitely guys that played in the Southeastern Conference that should be and are now rightfully Hall of Famers.
All right, 256-576-4977. You can join the conversation this morning. Let's go out there. Wolverine Dan is with us. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning, guys. A couple things. Interested about this Ohio State, or should I say Texas A&M Jimbo Fisher, Part 2. Is there another team in college football that's doing the same thing that A&M did and Ohio State's doing right now? Is there anybody that's comparable to spending that kind of money?
Ole Miss is probably the closest.
Yeah.
They did a lot of their damage early, but
I don't know if they're spending $13 million, but Ole Miss.
Ole Miss didn't get as many. They did get Walter Nolan, who's overrated.
Right.
But they and he'll get Goldinged. But they, in my opinion. But, Ohio State has got the most star power. They've got guys like – they took Ole Miss's best offensive player, Quinshon Judkins, but basically Lane Kiffin told him to leave because they got tired of being asked for money for, waking up in the morning and then going to class and going to, to go get something to drink. And he basically wanted to be paid to take a step outside on the pavement. But still, but again, I think Ole Miss is probably as close as there is right now. A&M, they did it a couple years ago, not as much this season, but it'll be interesting because, Ohio State's going all in because they have to. They're trying to pounce, and they've made runs under Ryan Day, but always come up short, and we'll see if he can handle this locker room, which there's going to be a lot of, star power in that locker room, a lot of guys wanting their touches and their numbers, and we'll see if he can handle it. Jimbo certainly couldn't.
Well, two things real quick. I get off the radio. As far as that is concerned, when you're paying some of these players a lot of money on the same team, and that, I don't care. These other kids are not getting paid as much. They don't have blinders on. They know what's going on. So how do you keep that team together without people getting jealous and whatnot? And it's done, and it was done once before with A&M, and A&M flopped, didn't do well. So there's a very good possibility, Drew and Scott, that this might happen. And it'll be great because I would love to be able to beat Ohio State with all those players next year or this coming year. Odds says that we won't, but you know what? A&M didn't do that well. I don't know if this is going to be good for Ohio State. And then one more thing. I know on the United States of America, they have this map showing on people who supported the Michigan Wolverines and whatnot, and they broke down the states where it was red for Bama and the down south and everything. Well, they did one for the Detroit Lions, and Ohio did not support the Detroit Lions just like they didn't support Michigan. They cannot stand the Wolverines and the Lions. I could not believe they didn't want to support the Lions. Fellas, I'm a Big Ten guy. I support my teams no matter what. And people from Ohio, I met a guy the other day, and he couldn't believe I said that. I said, well, I just, I'm in SEC country, and, they're the best conference right now, and every chance I can to be at least comparable to it, or if not better, which doesn't happen that often these days. I root for the Big Ten. But you still got people, guys, I can't believe it, in Ohio will not root for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know.
Isn't that something? God, Lord.
Well, it just shows the rivalry and what it means to people.
Yeah.
Well, Drew, it's entertainment, brah. It's not about us anyway. We're old dudes just sitting around having a beer and having fun talking about sports.
Well, you got to remember. Yeah, you got to remember, though, the Browns have not had a lot of success either. At least your Lions are now starting to step up. The Browns have been Heimlicking for years.
Well, we both have, I should say. But I still, to this day, Drew, I still don't understand how people take it so serious.
Right.
It's just a form of entertainment, man. It makes me happy to watch it. That's all it does for me.
Now, before you go, is Harbaugh going to the Chargers?
Well,
you're hesitating.
For him, if he does, I wish him the best. I think Michigan's going to throw him a bunch of money more than anybody
they have,
else.
yeah.
But, I think the thing that sits it back in his mind, this hurts recruiting right now.
Oh, it does, a little bit.
Me. But the point for me is that he's in the back of his mind, Jim's thinking, okay, is this investigation going to go further? Are we going to be, we're set back with the sanctions and whatnot? Who knows?
Yeah.
So I wish him the best. Hey, listen, I can't get mad at him. He gave me a national championship.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
Thank you, Dan.
There you go.
Cool.
See, for me, if I'm a fan, I get tired. I'd get tired of this year after year after year going through these interviews and stuff. Either stay or go.
If he doesn't go this time, I think he's going to stay for at least several more years.
He said that last year.
I know, but this time he won the national championship. I think he will stay for at least 4 or 5 more. Now, I thought Saban would coach 3 to 5 more, but I think he'll be there for the next several seasons, and then maybe he's young enough he could still make the jump to the NFL.
Right.
But we'll see. I will say this. I think it needs to wrap up in the next few days so they can give Michigan a succession plan and that you can manage your roster because it will open the transfer portal.
All right, let's get that final break in. Your phone calls and tomorrow's headlines. We'll wrap the show up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Working at Holmes and Jordan, that one had an injury. Joe Quick and Bullard also had an injury. And they're working 72 in Meridian, a broken utility pole, and in Decatur, 20 in Woodall. That one had injury and entrapment, so it's taken a while to get it wrapped up. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188, and you can email me at that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Your tomorrow's headlines today. Don't forget, double college basketball, Alabama-Auburn. Auburn-Alabama tonight. Round one of 2 meetings.
Yep.
This one in Tuscaloosa. And then you got UAH basketball tonight. So those are the 2 big basketball stories going on right now. 256-576-4977. We can throw it out to the phone lines real fast. Don is with us this morning. Good morning, Don.
Morning, guys. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Don. How are you?
Great. Got some just some interesting stats, and they probably don't mean a thing to be truth, but in this 11-game road streak Auburn's had, they've actually played 2 road games. Arkansas with a net of 117, Vandy with a net of 236. They've played 3 road games overall. The one they lost at App State has a 73 net. Okay, in their 11th game, the best that they've played has been Texas A&M at 39. It's the only top 50 team I think they've played all season. Now, they have played 4, I guess 5, count that one, top 100.
Right.
Ole Miss, USC at 90, and LSU at 93. Now, last 11 games, Bama's played their 7-4, which is not great, not horrible. Best team played, number 2, Purdue. Top 50 teams, they played 5, not 5, They played 5 top 50 teams. And they played 6 top 100s. In fact, the only non-top 50 team would have been South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as far as the teams that have played that are in the top 100. One more, I'll let y'all chew on this however y'all want to. The last 11 Auburn's played 2 road games and 2 neutral games. The last 11 Bama's played 4 road games and 3 neutral games. So one team's played at home a lot more than the other. And the team that's played the last number of home games happens to be the home game tonight. So don't know if those things mean anything, but I thought they were kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. I mean, it's going to be it goes to what Bruce Pearl said earlier in the show. We replayed it that arguably it's the best team that they've played.
Right.
And it'll be the toughest road environment because I think Alabama will have a raucous crowd. And, of course, it's the biggest rivalry in our state.
It is. And it'll be interesting. I mean, because like we said, something's going to give. Either an 11-game win streak or an 11-game home win streak. Something's going to give.
Well, I mean, we got a lot of big games tonight. We got Alabama-Auburn to showcase it. We've got, UAH Montevallo, another in-state rivalry. And then we've got the
nation's longest winning streak, by the way. Don't forget. We got
Stanford
that going
traveling
on.
to the Fighting Richies.
Right. Tonight, also in the league, it's Alabama and Auburn's not the only one going on. You got Georgia and LSU tonight, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Florida and Mississippi State, and then you got Ole Miss and Ernest T. Bass.
Well, let's go Ole Miss. Keep the misery going. I'd like to see the last of Ernest T. Bass.
The Rebs are a 6.5-point favorite, by the way, in this one.
Yeah.
If Chris Beard could get to 3-3 right now, I mean, Chris Beard could get to 3-3. Mississippi State has a chance to be 3-3 tonight. Florida has a chance to be 3-3. Winner of that one will be 3-3, I should say. Mm-hmm. The winner of LSU and Georgia will move to 4-2 in league play early on. If you're Mike White and you're the Georgia Bulldogs and you're 4-2 in SEC play, got to be feeling pretty good at that point, though, right? If you're 4-2, if you're Mike White.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Them and South Carolina, you could argue to be the two, surprises in this league. I mean, with Georgia and Mike White, and that hire was criticized, but he's done a solid job at UGA so far. And then with what, Lamont Paris has done at South Kakalaki and running the Wildcats out of the gym last night, because that was I got some eye-opening responses when I told people about that after the Huntsville game, the 68-44 win. They're like, wow, what, you got some scores? I was like, yeah, I got one surprise. I said South Kakalaki ran the Wildcats out the gym. What? I was like, yeah,
Second
absolutely.
straight year, by the way.
Yeah. I said Lamont Paris, they whooped the Wildcats, so we'll never hear from Jeff.
Well, at least not for another week. Oh, I didn't watch it. I was too busy. Why? I was too busy.
I mean, now you question, are they one of the top 2 teams in the league? I was saying they were, but if they can't guard a lamppost, you're not going to be. It'll be interesting to see the Buttons Calipari presses because it's a very talented Kentucky team.
Well, the race is on not to play in the first day in the SEC tournament.
Right.
Missouri and Vanderbilt are going to play in the first day. They're both 0-6 right now.
At this point in time, I just wonder if Stack will even be there. Hell, he might be on the staff of the Milwaukee Bucks at this point in time. Who knows?
You know what? We need to reach out to our guy who's on the staff of the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
We need to reach out to –
Adrian Griffin got fired because they couldn't guard me. Or Roll Tide Willie.
Because it's not basketball. Remember?
Yeah, it's the Not Basketball Association. Brought to you by Scott Tyson.
There we go.
They hired Doc Rivers. Is it done?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Crap.
It's official. 47 years in a row, Ford F-150 is the best-selling truck in America. Come drive